Hello, this is Joseph Carlson, and this is episode 109 of Gaming with Grief, and I'm calling this episode Finally Wholesome. But just to remind you guys, this podcast will hit my website, www.gamingwithgrief.com, Monday morning at 7 a.m. Go there, leave a comment, let me know what you think of the show, or you can find me on Twitter at JustLittleJoe. Go there, let me know what you think of the show, what I can do to improve, or you can subscribe to the podcast on iTunes. Go there, give me the like, the subscribes, the stars, all that kind of stuff. Or you can find me on the Google Play Store if you have an Android device. Go there. Again, let me know what you think of the show or how I can improve. And you can go to gwgpodfellows@gmail.com and drop me a line and let me know, again, maybe how you heard about the show or what I can do to improve or something like that. So yeah, I'm calling this episode Finally Wholesome because, like I said last week, I wanted to cover wholesome games, which what I'm going to do is first read a blurb. This kind of came into my purview because I was trying to find something to do to unwind, some kind of different experience in a game. Got kind of burned out on shooting and hurting stuff. But this article from Kotaku kind of came just randomly. It just came in my news feed when I look at gaming news in the morning. And it made me not really care about the article because the article is about people who troll wholesome games, which seems really weird that you would kind of drag people that make wholesome games. But they basically reached out to the CEO of Wholesome Games for a statement, and I'm going to read a little bit about what they do at Wholesome Games from the CEO. I'm just going to read directly from the article. This was published on last Wednesday at 10:30 a.m., so that would be like the 9th of June. At 10:30 a.m., John Walker wrote this on Kotaku.com, and the name of the article is Wholesome Games Responds to Backlash in the Classiest Way. You can go there and read it if you want, but really, that was a really long way of saying. So they reached out to Wholesome Games to talk about, their website and for a response to what was going on. I'll just read from the article now. It says, "We reached out to Wholesome Games to get their perspective regarding the Direct, which they did a Direct on 2021. I'm going to talk about that. Co-founder Matthew Taylor tells us he hopes to make an entertaining showcase that's as fast-paced and exciting as E3s I grew up with, and bring attention to indie developers who otherwise might not get it. Regarding the negative response, he's as decent as ever explaining that they understand why people are cautious about the label. We've come to find that the wholesome means a lot of different things to different people." Taylor tells us via DM Twitter, "Those who follow us closely know our values just based on the work we do, but the FAQ we published recently is just another way to get that message across, especially for those who might not know us that well. Hopefully the FAQ," that's FAQ by the way, "is a quick way for people to learn more about us straight from the source." So they just want to highlight independent developers that maybe don't get the kind of attention. And I watch both directs, which I'm going to talk about shortly. And I did see combat in those directs. I think people think that, oh, you're saying wholesome, that means there's no combat or any kind of drama or inherent splash to the game. But that's not true. I think this is just another indie showcase, kind of in a way, under the Wholesome banner. So let me just get into this. I'll just get into notes. And again, I would direct you to, their Wholesome Direct. It's on YouTube. It's called the Wholesome Direct. The first one was in 2020. It was published on 5/6/2020. And I'm just going to go. They said this was their first ever Direct as they advertised, and they went over 50 plus games. I am just going to go over the highlights or what I thought was really, really cool. There is a game called Button City. It's kind of a pixel polygon art style, like PS1 art style, but it's very vibrant. You play a bunch of anamorphic animals that are trying to save the arcade in their town. There is a demo on Steam, so I will be playing that. In the second half of this, I'll pause after I give kind of this rundown of the directs, and then I'll play what I can. A lot of these games coming up are things that are on Steam. They're coming to like the Nintendo Switch. Some of them are basically every console, but they haven't been released yet. So I can't really give a big review of these. And believe me, I tried. Like I said, some of these stuck out to me, and I thought to myself, man, I really want to play these, but they're not available yet. So, but Button City actually has a demo in Steam, so I'm going to play that, and I'll report back to you what I think of it. Most of them either have a TBA for the release date or a soon or whatever. Errand Boy, which is kind of this post-apocalyptic. You're basically a post-apocalyptic mail carrier, and you're just trying to help people out through the apocalypse. It's kind of chill. Some guy needs a sock. It's pretty mellow. If you like that kind of like organizational kind of gameplay, you might like it. Chicory is kind of a paint by numbers game where the color got taken out of a world, and I've actually heard Chicory kind of in the recent game press because it's kind of been promoted lately, and it seems like the first time it was shown off was this Wholesome Direct. I don't know if that's true, but it seems to be getting a little bit of steam. But yeah, you're basically trying to bring back color to the world. You have a paintbrush, you kind of swipe, and the world kind of lights up and blows up. That looks pretty cool. The Spirit and the Mouse got some major Ratatouille vibes here in France. You play a mouse, but it's more of a puzzle game where you're trying to move through the environment. There's a spirit that kind of goes into electrical lines and kind of, starts a power box, and you have to like connect the power so the spirit can move through to give power to a certain place. This is one of the little puzzles they show in the beginning, but I think there's more of that. The art style is really, it's pixely, but it's very like painted at the same time. It looks kind of cool. Sayori is, I put a big star by this game. Really cool. This like exploration game about aliens. You are like a six-legged alien that looks like a weird cross between Lilo and Stitch and that How to Train Your Dragon animated thing. And you are on an alien planet, and it looks like there's a little bit of combat and stuff, but really everybody there is trying to, find a home because everybody is kind of shipwrecked. I guess the ship landed like an ark. I may be kind of reaching with that, but it really just shows your alien trying to make it in this other alien world. And, he's just trying to help people so they can kind of find their way. So that looked pretty good. I started that, but I think that is just wish listed on Steam. I don't think I can play that yet. There's one called Bird Alone, which Bird Alone, it looks like this kind of like haiku thing where this parrot talks to you. But the more he talks to you, he talks in haikus. And when you move the cursor kind of around the screen, it makes like this kind of musical thing. So it kind of like goes together. There's like a beat to it. Looks really unique. The Witch in the Woods, I think if I'm remembering this one right, I tried to take notes, is like a 16-bit like kind of Stardew Valley game, but you get to catch animals and make potions and stuff like that. It looks pretty good. Book of Travels, I put a massive star by this one. This is like this really minimalist art style, really polygon, and they said it's an online role-playing game with other people, but it's very sparse, so it doesn't look like you're with a lot of people, and nobody really speaks. They have word bubbles come above their head, and it'll show like a symbol, like you want to talk to somebody. It'll show the portrait of another character, or it'll show an arrow for movement, or it'll show a song or something like that, or a musical note, and you have to kind of follow along with that. It looks really interesting. I don't think it's coming out till like mid-August, so I'll probably be checking that out when I can. And that's pretty much what stood out for me from the 2020 Direct, but there's another one that came out this year. I don't know if I mentioned this, but E3, the digital presentation of all the games, is going on as I'm recording this, so this stuff is kind of coming off hot from the presses, as it were. And I watched the 2021 Direct, and I just took some more notes on what's coming up. Some of the things that were shown off were things that were shown off before in the 2020 Direct, but this time they maybe had a release date or something. First thing I'll say, I believe this is part of the Guerrilla Collective Showcase. They do some PC stuff, some other stuff. They've been in E3 past, but this Wholesome Direct is part of that, which is kind of nice. The first thing that jumped out to me was a game called Bird Problems, where it was like this animated, like low poly animated sitcom. They called it a sitcom narrative game. So it seems like your bird is suffering from anxiety, and they have a laugh track along with it. So if you do something goofy, you'll hear a laugh track in the back, just like a sitcom. It looked really unique. You got to navigate this bird through this stuff. A lot of anamorphic animals in this, I'm not going to lie. But all the art styles are pretty unique. So, Yeah. And there's a shout out to everybody out there who has OCD or any kind of organizational skills. There's a game coming out calling A Little to the Left, which is you literally just organizing photos, putting things in order. And, me, I'm okay. I don't have OCD. I don't really have that. But I could see if somebody really likes things in order and unpacking. There was a few of those games in this direct. I wrote down A Little to the Left because they had the creators on there giving like a little intro. But there was a few more games that I didn't write down. Because, again, I just wrote down what stuck out to me. But check out the direct and check out A Little to the Left if you like, that kind of like organizational stuff. It will be on PC. They did not have a release date. Skatebird. That's right. I said Skatebird. It's a game that I've been looking at for a while. It's really, really unique. You are a small bird on a skateboard on little tiny ramps. You're trying to get as many points as you can. You're trying to do all the tricks. You're trying to do the flips. This time, though, I've heard about this game for a while. I didn't see a release date. But this time, the developer had a camera on the controller he was using, which was an Xbox One controller. And he talked about how he tried to minimize the amount of button pressing you had to do. And I thought, man, I'm old. My hands hurt from working with my hands my whole life. This is great. But I thought about an accessibility, option of it. Of like, if you don't have the most fine motor skills and can't hit 900 buttons in a minute to do a spin, I thought this was great, and he said that there's tons of options in there for accessibility. You can turn this off, and they showed the menus, and he showed how, with this camera on the controller, how he was able to limit the amount of inputs you do into the game. And so not only do I think Skateboard looks amazing by trying to get points and being a little adorable little bird on a skateboard, trying to get as many points as possible, but I'm probably going to turn all those things on because I just want a chill experience. I just want to chill out and be a bird, flipping around. And that's right. Flipping the bird. Anyway, there's a game called Lake, which you basically just play as a mail carrier. You quit your busy job like an adventure game. The art style is really amazing. You think with these indie studios, you're like, man, this looks kind of rough, but I understand, they don't have a 100-person team for art and assets. I really like the look of Lake. I think it's pretty unique. Check it out. Again, I didn't see a date on Steam. But I'll see when I dig into this and get to the second half and play some of these chill games. I'll see if I can play it and report back. We Are OFK, another game that I thought was interesting. An adventure game about teens, it seems like, or young adults is trying to make it in the world. And what stuck out to me is most adventure games or stuff like that, you have one person on one side and it's like them just sitting there as art, and then text bubbles show up, and then someone standing on the other side of the screen and text bubbles show up and kind of tell you this is what's happening, and you read text. This was fully voice acted, and just a little trailer they showed seemed very genuine and moving. And this idea that one of the characters is a musician, they're trying to make their way in the world, and it just seemed different than what I've seen for kind of adventure games or narrative games. That idea that it's fully voice acted. A lot of these, they ask people to please wishlist them because that increases, I guess, visibility on Steam. So I would tell you, go check it out. And if you like it, then wishlist it. They'll help them out. There's a couple more I got to talk about. Kiwi. You were literally playing the kiwi animal. That weird looking bird that doesn't have wings. And you have a big beak. Yeah, you're a mail carrier. And it's called Kiwi. Keywe. It's coming out August 31st. That's also on Steam. It just looked kind of adorable. Just hopping around these little small kind of diorama environments. The camera pulls in really close, and you just kind of hop around delivering your mail. And it looks like it's 2 players, so you can try to beat the other player. So that looks pretty cool. A Walk with Yaya is like this adorable 8-bit kind of Game Boy game where you are literally trying to walk your grandma across the street because she just had a bad fall. The developer had his grandma on to do the intro, and the idea is that you, in the game, you just want to walk your grandma around and keep her safe because, again, she fell while she was walking and she doesn't want to fall again. You meet people in town. You help people with little missions, like somebody lost their cat, it looks like, or at least you pet the cat. Again, it's just a chill game. You got to keep your grandma safe. Who doesn't want to keep their grandma safe, man? The Gecko Gods. This is a game where you play as a gecko, crawling on things. You jump on things and use your mouth to grab chains to get yourself to the next section. You'll maybe hit something with your tail. It'll knock a ball down. It'll open a door. It looks like you're moving through these ancient ruins. I really like the art style, and I like kind of being an unconventional person without opposable thumbs to play. So that looks good. Gecko Gods. And guys, I got to tell you about this. I've looked at this game like 2 or 3 times. It's called Battle Cakes, and you get to play as a cupcake. That's right. It's a turn-based battle game where you get to play this incredibly violent cupcake. I'm not violent. It's very whimsical, the art style. I'm thinking of the new My Little Ponies animation, which I haven't really watched an episode, but I've seen the animation. I've seen clips and stuff online. I'm not a brony. But this has that same kind of bright art style with a lot of color, and you play a cupcake. And you pet other animals. Like there's a cat that looks like a maple bar. Yeah, and you're just going through the world in this turn-based thing, defeating other confectionery. So who doesn't want to do that? And all the cupcakes, you have like a party of cupcakes. There's 3 other cupcakes behind you. I don't know if you're vanilla or strawberry. This sounds really good. Maybe I just want a cupcake right now. Anyway, I looked at this game 2 or 3 times. You can wish list it on Steam, but it isn't going to be available for a while. So you got a little bit of time to wait. Yeah, there's Sally. I guess like Sally Forth. I like the art style, and you basically live on this giant airship. You're like a kid in a class. There's a forest on this airship, and it pans out. I don't know if you're going places, but that's pretty unique. You know, I don't know if you probably have to. It was just a little intro cinematic, but it looks interesting. You know, I gotta say, Rainbow Billy. That is another whimsical fighting game, and I just like the name of it, Rainbow Billy. Check that out. Cloud Jumper, you are a tugboat in the sky. A little bit like some other games we talked about, like Sally and stuff like that. But the art style is really cool. And you get in these warp gates and go to different places. It looks like you explore quite a bit. And you can actually stop and talk to people. It appears that no one is piloting the tugboat. That when you stop, there's a word bubble that appears above your head. And then when people talk to you, there's another word bubble that appears their head to answer. And so, yeah, there's something about that art style that really hit me, you know. There's Witchery Academy, which is like a graphic novel / turn-based battle thing. I really liked it. Looked like a comic as you were battling people and stuff like that. That was pretty cool. So those are the things that stood out to me from the Wholesome Direct 2021 and 2020. And what I'm going to do in the next part of the podcast is I've been playing. I'm not going to say they're totally wholesome, and it's not like there isn't combat in the game, but combat is not the main objective of the game. And so I just want to try something new, kind of get out of my wheelhouse of the standard games I play. And so, yeah, that's what I'm going to report on next. So I'll see you guys in a bit. Hello, I'm back. And I just want to let you guys know I just got done playing Button City. I don't know why I paused like that. I guess I thought it would be cooler. Anyway, I just finished playing Button City, which if you remember, I covered. Of course you remember because I just went over it a couple minutes ago to you, but it was covered in the Wholesome Game Direct 2021 and 2020. They played it in both, the trailer for it in both. But what they did announce, I think of the 2021 it was a free demo on Steam, so I downloaded the demo and played it. So let me just start out by saying I apologize for my dogs. They have been sleeping all morning, and the moment I go to record this, when I have time, they come in here and they start chewing bones, and they're loud. Just going to let it go for a second. Yeah, you hear that? Anyway, so I just got done playing Button City, actually last night. The demo is short, but it is really, really good. It's immediately adorable. It's got like a low poly art style. You know, everything looks really PlayStation 2, but like the colors are really vibrant. You play Fennel, who is a fox. Who just kind of gets up in the morning, and his friend Sorrel calls him, another fox, and says, "Hey man, you got to get to Button City, the arcade. It's Kids Day. We got to try this out. You know, they're giving away free. They got the machines open, basically. I'm paraphrasing. So you can actually go around your room and interact with stuff, which is fun. There's a game console, which I didn't write down the name of, but it looks adorable. And then you go outside, and you kind of see how fast travel and movement work. You go outside, and everything's kind of like on a pad. You can kind of see the sky around you. And when you want to go somewhere, the fast travel thing comes up, and each location is kind of like on a tile. So you swap up or down with the arrow pads, and it'll be like the cafe, Button City. Here you go. Now, here's the deal. In the demo, it looks like you could have traveled to a lot of different places. I think I saw the cafe and the playground. I immediately went to Button City because if your friend calls you at like 8 in the morning and says, "Hey, man, you got to get down to Button City. They have free games." Being a 12-year-old, like I think Fennel is,
if someone had called me, which never happened when I was young, by the way, arcades, I don't think open their games up. If my friend would have called me at 9 in the morning, which it looks like it's a morning, I don't know what time it is, but he calls you and says, hey, you got to get down here. They've opened up all the games. I would immediately go to Button City. So that's why I immediately went to Button City. And you interact with people there. Can I just say right now, Chive, I don't think I appreciate the shade, because what happens is you find out there's they called him the Scrub Squad, but that's not their name, and you have to fight them in I want to say it's Go Bobo Bots, because I think they didn't want to get sued. There's an arcade game, and I think this is where the crux of the game comes about. So yeah, you can interact with people in the environment and talk to them. People, you ask people, hey, do you want to be on my team? Blah, blah, blah. So what happens is if you find the right people, because you have the prompt with everybody, I picked Chive because he looked pretty awesome, but he was also, again, throwing shade. He said something about, he wanted your friend Sorrel and I believe Lavender to play. All the animals have like adorable names like Chive, Cilantro, Lavender, I think someone else is named Honey, but they all have names like that. And he says, I don't Chive, which again, I don't appreciate Chive. Okay, I've been working hard. I just woke up, and I just want to play some free games. And you say that you'll join my squad if, I get certain people on there like Sorrel and Lavender, and that I'm a scrub, and you don't want to carry people on your back. And I feel kind of accosted by that, And anyway, I got Chive on my team because apparently he looked, I don't know, something about him. I'm like, yeah, you're throwing me shade, but I kind of believe you could beat these guys. So basically, after you get your squad, you go and play, you go challenge Scrub Squad to Go Bots. There is an intro scene where they said, that's not our name. We hate that name. Everybody calls us it. And you actually zoom into the arcade, the Go Bots. If I'm saying that right, I'm probably adding too many vowels, but you go in there and you play the game. So it zooms in and you're playing a new game, and it's kind of like a little 2D, 3D-esque, low poly kind of action game where you play these little weird fruits that go along. They have weapons. You hit like a tree, grab fruit, and you put them in a big blender, which is kind of cool. So you get like 3 minutes. The first team with the most amount of fruits to the blender wins. You can hit people. There's speed tokens you can pick up if someone hits you with a weapon, because some people have hammers, some people have like boomerangs. When you get hit, you lose life. And then it's a little bit like Pac-Man, that if you go out, then you become a ghost and you float back to home base and become real again. There's a little quick time event, which if you time correctly, I think you have to hit space with the quick time event. You move faster to get back to home base and get healed. If your teammate grabs you, they can heal you and you're back up. But I lost twice. That's right. Scrub Squad beat the crap out of me. I didn't realize that there is speed tokens, but I beat Scrub Squad, and that was the end of the demo. So I tell you this to say that this kind of sets up the template, I think, for the rest of the game. So one, this is how the fast travel works. You swipe between these tiles and go there. You can interact with the environment and talk to people. It looks like there's little side missions going on. Like you could talk to people and they're like, oh, I'm doing fine. But again, this is a demo, so I don't know how deep they went into that. But I think the template is you're at Button City. If you read the blurb about the game that Steam has, I think the developers wrote it, that basically you're trying to save the arcade. It's going to close down. So in the trailer, they show you go into several games and play them, like racing games, and there was another game. So I think that's the template. Maybe you have to beat people or something. I don't know how that's going to shake out. But it was really, really fun, and it was very chill. It was a great way. Like, I played it for like 35 minutes. It was great. I loved it. I definitely recommend it if you're looking for something chill. Everybody's adorable. There's no cursing or swearing or like anybody. There's violence, but it's all cartoon. You hit someone with a boomerang, they go sideways. Like, nobody explodes. There's no beheadings. You could play this with your kids and be like, yeah, it's really fun together, And then there's, all the little dialogue options. You can find all this stuff. It looks like there's achievements, but those aren't locked because it's a demo, obviously. So maybe there's little things to find or do in there. I don't think they've announced a price, but I think they said it's coming out in the third quarter of this year. You can play the demo on Steam. Please check it out. Again, demos are free. I'm going to play another game now that wasn't part of the Wholesome Game Showcase, but it was shown to me on YouTube because I was clicking on all these trailers for these Wholesome games. And I'll give you my impressions of that. So again, this was my impressions of Button City. It's a demo on Steam. Check it out. It's a really short demo, but it's also a small file. So I don't know if your computer, maybe you don't got a lot of space on there. And I think this isn't very demanding. So again, it's low poly. I'm sure if you have a laptop or something, you could probably run this game. So that's my first impression of my kind of like demo impressions of Button City. I love it. I don't know if I mentioned this before, but I want to mention it again. In the Wholesome Direct, a lot of people mentioned the people running the Direct and also the developers when they would have them be on screen for a little bit. Please wishlist the games on Steam. That shows Steam that you're interested in them, and that could help out their visibility. So that way, purchases help, obviously, but just wishlisting something, I guess, on the back end of Steam. Math is hard, and I don't understand algorithms, but they were saying that it helps visibility of the game. So I just want to reiterate that. I'm sure I mentioned that in my intro. I recorded that a while ago and edited it, but now I'm to this. But yeah, please wishlist the games on Steam. If you hear anything that I talked about, if it hits your fancy, and I've wishlisted Button City and it is ready to go, so that way when the game releases, if it isn't $70, which I doubt very much, most of the indie titles are budget priced, and not in a bad way, they just are. So I will see you guys in a bit, and I will talk about another game that got sent to my whatever soon. Talk to you guys. Bye. I'm back. Oh, man, that was so long ago. No, I just got done playing the demo for a game called Terra Nil. It's on Steam as well. I think Steam is doing like the Next Fest or a Summer Fest where they're just showing a bunch of demos, things like that you can download and play, kind of show them off to people. There's broadcasts, so you can watch people play the game live. I just spent a half hour playing Terra Nil, which is kind of this reverse sim. So usually in a sim, you have to make the roads, all that kind of stuff, manage people. This is more about managing terrain. It's basically the post-apocalyptic place. You have a set amount of resources, and you place wind turbines, terraforming machines, and greenery to kind of revitalize the area. And I kind of like this take because, like I said, in most management sims, it is, build a road that'll get people to work, or, in the Sims, like build this house, have a party. I've barely played a sim before. But, this is very low kind of, there is a fail state, which I reach, which is why I stopped. You have a set amount of resources. You set these wind turbines, kind of terraforming machines. You set water pumps down because there's natural terrain like riverbeds that you have to like repump and get water. You can set down different arboretums and things. You can put beehives down to pollinate, on a tree to pollinate areas. It's kind of cool because you'll see like birds start to come back. You have a machine that'll basically create wetlands. You can do like a controlled burn as well and burn an area and then build a more lush forest in the place of what you've built. Everything is solar powered and stuff like that. I like it because I think the music is really chill, and I'm kind of doing this, with another piece of software that I'm experimenting with now, but this is a more chill form of it. You have to balance types of biomes. So whether you have grasslands or wetlands or like lush forests, those are like on a like spindle dial, so they'll go up and down depending on if you burn an area that was a wetland but create a lush forest, that will obviously have more of the pie. It's cut into thirds, so that way you can balance all that stuff. Again, I did hit a failed state, so I'm a terrible gamer. It's like when I started all this, I think some of it is, we all want to try new stuff and try new things. I've been thinking about that a lot as I've been listening to E3 coverage, and it kind of seemed like the Wholesome Direct, obviously, which I covered, but a lot of the games were the same old thing. It was, shoot this, punch this, stab this, and I was really surprised by, I kind of want to get out of my comfort zone and try something different. I'm seriously thinking of, I've done it before, but trying a JRPG. I know that's violent, but it's the idea that I don't normally play JRPGs. I also don't normally play racing games, But I know with Xbox Game Pass, there's a lot of options out there if I want to play a racing game and stuff like that. I think that'll be my next thing, is to really dive into a racing game or something. It's just try to get out of my comfort zone. And that's kind of what this was about, this episode was about finding something that may be a little bit off the beaten path independently, game-wise, and then try it out, And, both Button City and Terra Nil, there's no death so far. I mean, with Terra Nil, you're basically dealing with something that's dead already, so it doesn't really matter. With Button City, you're just kind of experiencing these quirky arcade games and hanging out with your animal friends. So, I think I enjoyed both of them. Again, I've said this before, but I'll say it again. If you like any of the games on Wholesome Direct that I've covered, check them out. Wishlist them on Steam. It seems like that's mostly where most of these games are. Some of them have planned release dates, some of them don't. Again, some of them also have demos, so check those out. Terra Nil had a demo, Button City had a demo, and Steam is doing this thing right now where they're trying to push out these independent games and kind of show how great they are and show off the creators. Sometimes you get a little 1-minute interview with the creator. With the Wholesome Direct, they talk about the game, and it's it's way different than AAA development. It's like, hey, what if it was just a game about organizing your bedroom? Some people that really scratches an itch. A big game that I've heard now that I might try out also is a power wash simulator, which is gratifying because you basically get a power washer and you get to power wash, a house and make it look great. So you could go, God, that's dumb. I don't want to do that. I got to power wash something in real life. I get it. But, if you're doing some job where you're like, man, I just wish I could just keep this as orderly as possible. My life is chaotic. I think that's why some of these games are out, is just to keep things as, is put order in places where there isn't order. And if that has to come in a digital form, then so be it. So, I had a good time. I definitely want to dig into more of these games and check out if there's more demos out there. But I think that's going to be it this week, guys. So, and gals, and whoever you are. So just remind you guys, this podcast will hit my website, www.gamingwithreef.com, Monday morning at 7 a.m. Go there, leave a comment below the episode. Let me know what you think of the show, maybe how you found the show, what I can do to improve. Go to Apple iTunes, subscribe to the podcast there. Give me the likes, the stars, all that kind of stuff. What a great person I am. I love that stuff. No, just give me what you think of the show. And again, how you heard of the show and stuff like that. And if you're an Android user, you can go there to the Google Play Store and subscribe to the podcast there. I don't do Spotify or anything like that. I'm an old man. I barely figured out the Google Play Store, which is weird. You can also drop me an email at gwgpodfellows@gmail.com. So go there. Again, let me know how you heard of the show or what you thought of the show. Or you can find me on Twitter at JustLittleJoe. So go there to those places and drop me a line. Still don't have any mail. Episode 109. That's fine. I'll keep doing this. You guys have a good week. Gals have a good week. Everybody out there have a good week. And I'll talk to you next week. And have a good Father's Day, everybody. Bye.